Chapter 31. Ziwei and Changsheng. A few days later, a flying boat carrying Guhai and Longwen quietly left Chaos City. In a few days' time, Guhai had already arranged everything, with Gao Xianzi, Shangguan Trace, Bingji, and Meng Tai sitting in Chaos City. Guhai made some major political approvals, and then took the foe stone man, who could take shape, giant foe, and a group of generals, and headed to the Death Grave Valley. Behind Longwen, naturally, was the group of followers who served her, with Sima Feng as the leader. Sima Feng was none other than the Sima family calligraphy master, who accompanied Longwen when she first met Guhai in the past, and accompanied her to set up the Bukdao formation, preparing to trap and kill Guhai. By order of the great Chen sage, he was fully responsible for Longwen's safety. On top of the flying boat, Guhai stood at the front of the deck, eyeing the distance. Death Grave Valley, Dragon Vein City, Guhai said in a deep voice. On the side, the new foothill stone man supreme, Giant Foothill, who was appointed by Guhai, respectfully said, "Yes, Your Majesty, nowadays there are 10 foothill stone men there who are keeping an eye on it. So we can just go over there and meet up with them." Guhai nodded. "That's good. Many thanks, Your Majesty." Giant Fushi said gratefully, "You don't have to be like this. I have suffered from your Earth God, and have promised Huangfu Keok, so I will naturally avenge the foe stone god. Hey Yan, beginning to enter the lower heavenly palace." "I'll do my best," Guhai solemnly said. "Yes," Giant Foothill said gratefully. "All right, don't be a mother-in-law, Big Stone, go and stay over there. I want to talk to my brother-in-law," Longwen shouted at once. "Yes," Giant Lu respectfully retreated to the side. "Brother-in-law, finally came out. Still brother-in-law, you're the best. Every time I told the old man that I want to go out, he refused to do so. And with Liu Nai, an old bald man, want to go out, he also forbids this and that. With you the best to say, once you say it, you agreed," Longwen happily said. "I promise you to follow out, but you also promise me one things, don't forget," Guhai solemnly said. "Isn't it just listening to you? Don't worry, I won't get into trouble. I'll listen to you for everything." Longwen instantly narrowed her eyes and smiled. "No, the last thing I said to you, don't remember," Guhai frowned. Remember, you said to set a code word with me. As long as you say this code word, I'll listen to you in everything." Longwen nodded at once and said, "What's the code word?" Guhai emphasized. "Happy, he, am I right? Brother-in-law, why did you come up with such a code word?" "So funny," Longwen instantly laughed. "It's happy. I also hope that you will always be happy in the future. But remember, in case I say this, no matter what I say, you have to listen to me. It's a must," Guhai solemnly said. Got it. Longwen nodded at once. Seeing that Longwen remembered, Guhai smiled faintly. "All right. It's good to remember, by the way. Grandmother Liu Nian said that he was going to open the Heavenly Palace some time ago, and has been in seclusion. Aren't you a prophet? Will he succeed this time?" "I don't know. Didn't predict that far. Old Baldy should be able to break through, right?" Longwen frowned. "All right," Guhai smiled slightly bitterly. "That head guard of yours is Sima Feng. Last time I saw him, his Bukdao formation was quite good." Guhai curiously said. "Little Wind, come over here for a moment," Longwen said in an old-fashioned manner. Not far away, a man quickly came forward and looked at Longwen and said with a slight bitter smile, "County Master, you called me. Well, my brother-in-law asked you something, answer properly." Longwen's tone was still very old-fashioned. Sima Feng nodded with a slight bitter smile. "Mr. Sima, excuse me," Guhai also smiled bitterly. "Don't, Mr. Gu, just call me Zifeng, just like the county princess." Sima Feng immediately shook his head and said, If Gu Hai was too respectful to himself, it would be a disaster if the county princes looked at him and found trouble with him. All right, then I'll still call you Sima Feng. Last time I saw you using the Book Dao formation. Book Dao. Can you tell me about it? Gu Hai said curiously. Book Dao, actually, I'm just scratching the surface. I'll talk about what I know. If I'm wrong, Mr. Gu, please forgive me. You're welcome, Gu Hai laughed. That's what people say. The way of chess creates the world. The way of the Qing creates the soul. And the way of the book establishes order, Sima Feng solemnly said. Establish order, Gu Hai said doubtfully. Yes, it's order, or it's also called rules, or supreme principles. A single sentence can become a supreme principle, common to all the world. In general, masters of the Book Dao, they all discover the supreme principles of heaven and earth, understand the existing order of heaven and earth, and utilize them to become their own weapons. Very few people could create order. Legend has it that in ancient times, there was a Book Dao powerhouse who once created a new order and challenged the heavens. But as a result, just like old man chess viewer, he was also destroyed by the heavens, Sima Feng explained. Oh, the Book Dao can also defy the heavens. Create order. Gu Hai frowned slightly. Yes, it's mainly about discovering the existing order of heaven and earth, right? And whoever is the first to discover it, that order will be used the most. It's similar to the Zither Dao. It's like when Mr. Gu creates a Zither Dao tune. No matter how well the others play it, it's the one you play that's the most powerful. It's because you were the first to uncover this arrangement of notes, Sima Feng explained. The same is true for the way of the book. Yes, the Qin Dao needs the Qin Dao intention, and the Book Dao also needs the Book Dao intention. To use the intention to control the book, when you write some order of the heaven and earth, this order of the heaven and earth will be able to be used for you. Just like the Yellow Springs Extermination Dharma scripture that I wrote the last time, which is the order of the heaven and earth that was unearthed by my family and founded out by my family. That's why the power of the family master's writing is the greatest, and the power of the one written by our bloodline descendants is a bit smaller, of course. If the full text is known by outsiders, outsiders can use it as well, but the effect isn't as good as ours, Sima Feng explained. Discovering the order of heaven and earth and writing it down, one must have the Book Dao intent to do so. Gu Hai frowned. Of course, it's like the Dao of the Qin. Without the Dao of the Qin intent, how can we condense the pixies? Book Dao. Without Book Dao intent, how can one write a heaven-shaking supreme principle? The Book Dao intent, but it connects heaven and earth, Sima Feng explained. Without the realm of intent, there's no way, Gu Hai frowned. That's generally the case, but... Oh, but what? Mr. Gu still remembers the heavenly grade Zither, Sima Feng solemnly said. You mean the Gu Chen? Gu Hai said doubtfully. Yes, there are grades of Zither, and the strongest is the heaven grade Zither. Calligraphy Dao and painting Dao need brushes, pens. Brushes are also divided into grades. The strongest is the heaven grade brush, that is, it's almost the same as the heaven grade Qin. I've never seen it, but I heard the family master mention it once in a while. It seems to be almost the same as a regular person. Oh, just like the heaven grade Qin, when you refine a heaven grade brush, you can also use it to write governance quotes. To write the orderly book sutra, it doesn't require you to have a realm of meaning yourself. But this heaven grade brush, where can I find it? Maybe it's just a legend. Sima Feng shook his head and said. Gu Hai nodded. The Death Grave Valley. Above it for a short period of time created a giant city, Dragon Pulse City. The reason for the cover was that, in the four directions of this place, there were dragon chants coming out from time to time. And even more so, sometimes, a fiery dragon rushed out from the ground, hideous and incomparable, and fire burned all over the sky. Once the news of the dragon vein Countless cultivators heard the wind. To establish a dynasty, you must raise dragons. Where to find dragons? There are in the hands of the lords of the various transport dynasties, but who can snatch them? That's where heaven and earth breed new ones. In the Thousand Islands Sea, that barren land, the birth of a dragon vein is extremely difficult. But in the divine continent Earth is not difficult. Every so many decades, there is a new dragon vein news. Every time a new dragon vein is born, will set off a bloody storm, fighting just to get the dragon vein. Dragon Vein City was also born. No one has found the exact location of the dragon vein, so more and more people gather here, and in a special place in the Valley of the Deadly Grave, like a dungeon in general. Inside the palace, sitting to strange-looking people, and extremely obese, as if walking to steps to gasp to mouths, another extremely thin almost skin and bones, to people sitting stagnantly at a stone table, wide-eyed and small-eyed. Ziwei. It seems like there are more and more people above our heads, the thin man stared. Eternal life. You still have the heart to care about them, Fatty said blankly. The underground palace suddenly fell into a meal of silence. Damn, why are the two of us so unlucky, being sent here, sitting here for 3,000 years? Sitting has given me hemorrhoids, Fatty Ziwei said in a depressed manner. The skinny Changsheng also said with a burst of eccentricity, that's because you only eat and don't poop, and you're clogged up. You don't think about it. When you were thinner than me. Here then how many books, all eaten by you. Eat a fart. I became so fat. But it's not because of you. You don't show me your paintings. How can my stomach be so big? Ziwei shouted at once. You blame me. I was plump in the beginning too. It wasn't you that made me skinny like this. Changsheng depressedly said. The two were silent for a while, looking at each other in a bad light. Perhaps the silence was too long. Ziwei once again spoke. How about I recite a poem I created for you? It's guaranteed to be good. Ziwei looked at Changsheng expectantly. Changsheng rolled his eyes. You think that we hurt each other, okay. How about you taste one of my paintings as well? Ziwei's face froze. My poetry is hard to find for 10,000 gold. How many people beg me to make poems for them? Ziwei was instantly unconvinced. Why did that Wu Laozhen from our next door clan become incontinent after hearing you recite a poem? Changsheng demolished the situation. That was the first time he heard my poetry, and he couldn't contain himself with excitement. Ziwei shouted. Your family's excitement is expressed by incontinence. Everlasting continued to tear down the stage. Ziwei. After a moment of silence, Ziwei said in annoyance. That's because Wu Laozhen doesn't know how to appreciate it. Brother, it's not once or twice. Your poetry kills. Even the old guy can't take it anymore. Changsheng continued to tear down the stage. Aren't you still the same? Otherwise, the old guy would have kept you here like a plague avoider. Ziwei instantly shot back. Me? It's still not because of you. Who made me get close to you? When the old guy looks at you and gets upset, I'm in bad luck too. Bah, it's me who was harmed by you. Ziwei instantly defied. The two of them were in the middle of a non-stop exchange of insults, one from you and one from me. They even argued to the point of ***, lifted up their sleeves and strangled each other's necks with their hands.